Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend. It's July 21st. It is Monday. Happy Money Monday to you. We're going to review 0-day options today. I trade on SPY and give you a little overview. Here on the 30-minute, we've got SPY day trading on YouTube's chart. We had a gap up this morning and then a melt up and then nice bull flag that built all day, but didn't complete. Ended up completing the inverse cup overall. But still broken out from this green channel right here. So this could be an inverse head for that shoulder, or this inverse cup could make another little handle here, maybe rejecting that liquidity. Come down and retest 5-day, which is that gold. Or this is a bounce and inverse head, and we rally from here. We do have some data, I think, this week, and some catalysts. So I'll show you on the 1 minute the trades I took. So this morning just kind of started grinding and chopping up. I couldn't identify a whole lot of bullish controlled selling until here. I thought I had a couple, but as the day progressed, I would delete them and revise them. And but at this point, I thought this was a pretty good one. Seemed pretty accurate. And then later on, this white one, which it took a while. So needless to say, I didn't take any trades in here. Potentially, you could have gone long on the break of this purple, this little inverse head and shoulder, but the risk to reward at that point to me wasn't great, and the structure wasn't my favorite. So I was just sitting on my hands. And then we had this magenta, this tapering right here, which did develop, and then we broke it and grinded down purple. Then it got a bit choppy here midday, right about VWAP. Another long potential right here is breaking this white. Could have got on just a VWAP bounce with that kind of being your stop. Yeah, or on a retrace here, but until we really broke this white, to me it wasn't that confirmed of potential move higher. But lacked continuation, came up, made another cup, and then just grinded. So failed continuation means it's probably going to go the other direction, but you don't know when. That's where structure comes in. So you can't just short it right here, or you will get destroyed on 0 days going along on them. So entry, yeah, breaking on this on the white here, which was the resistance up here. Problem is that's kind of how I originally had it up here, and then I moved it down to there. And up there you can see it did actually break it nicely and then retest it. And then gold is your resistance too. However, gold would have been moved up higher because of that little false break. But I ended up moving this down. So yeah, actually, if I left it up there, that would have been pretty nice. But yeah, really waiting for inverse cups when it's choppy like that, or normal cups to close. We had this normal cup. The handle just didn't play out and lacked continuation to the upside. So we're just waiting to get out of the wedge. And according to my data, I shouldn't trade in between 11:45 and like 1:15. I have to look at what Copilot says, but around those times. So it did make the breakout on the white here, but I didn't take it. It was 12:50. I was like, I'm gonna leave it. I was a little distracted then also, but it made a nice little inverse head and shoulder here. Head, shoulder, and the break. But I was fine to miss that and preserve my mental stamina in case something set up later, which it did. It did greatly. So on Epper's chart here, he had this magenta, which was a flatter, bearish controlled selling, and I didn't have this one. So I had, of course, this white one. And this white one, if I traded it here on the break and then the retest, I could have volume. I guess actually that is where volume hadn't quite picked up yet. So the low volume was, not ideal. Waiting for more volume to come in, and then lack of real structure. So really, it looked much better once it completed this bigger inverse cup right here. This being the low and this being the low, and then made that handle. And you also had volume come in there too, which coincided. And then on Emperor's chart, that is where it broke his magenta. That's when that volume picked up and showed some structure forming. So I did get puts, and they went crazy. So I'm trying to be very strict on when I trade, what delta I trade, and today the IV was so low. It was like 12 or 13% middle of the day, just because it was such a grind, that even the ones right at the money it was like 23 delta, and they were, well, I'll show you right here. Here's a little recap on my trades. Oh yeah, I did actually do a trade before that. There it is, green today. Good green day, and it was only with one $25 contract. How crazy is that? So 225 was my first trade. I forgot I even took that one. Let's see, 225 I got calls. Oh yeah, that's right. So it did a little false break here, that one. The structure wasn't great here, so I didn't like it, but I had to respect the channel I'd drawn, and so I got it. I got it on the retrace. Yeah, on this red candle when it's retracing. It was, well, it wasn't that low. It was like up here. I got one call. Was so this was actually a more expensive premium. This was $49. This was at the money, or maybe one strike in the money. I'm trying to avoid contracts cheaper than, I think 30 cents was where my data showed that my success drops off. Doesn't always work that well. Like, I'll have to get ones that are cheaper than that at times, just given later in the day, shorter time, they're gonna get cheaper. But on this one I decided to get, yeah, the $49 call, which I think was one in the money. It's probably like a 45 or 50 delta. So got that one, stopped out in the next minute. It broke back in here, and it could have gotten puts here, honestly, with that little head and shoulder. And again, I could tell where the inflection point was, but it just gave a false breakout, so I just could have flipped it. When I'm only getting basically one trade a day, I'm just not usually going to do that. But if I was a little more loose, had more trades, I'd be fine to flip it at seeing there's not continuation to the upside, and that little micro head and shoulders, as well as I think the volume. Yeah, the volume did increase a little bit, so it made that little stop hunt, increased volume just enough. Could have gotten puts there, but I just waited. At that point I was only down like $2 on the day, so, or I guess $4. So I was like, no problem, easy to recover today or another day. But we did end up getting set up at 248 is when I took one put. This one was either at the money or just one in the money. I took it on the break of Emperor's. So this volume, as red candle was clear. It came in. That can always be an inverse head though, so that's why I'm careful of. The fact that it broke his red channel and it had already broken my white gave me more confidence. I thought it was enough of a retrace that I grabbed one. And this is the beauty of scaling, is that you can, on the first initial break, you can always grab one. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. And then scale into it. So broke it here, 248 right there is where I got my first put, because it kind of retraced there, but then it ended up grinding and retracing much more cleanly with a nice little head and shoulder, even with that increased volume. And when it was on this candle, let's see, 255 or maybe even 256, I tried to get another put just because it did retrace nicely. It wasn't looking like an inverse head at that point. It looked like it was just building a little liquidity outside this magenta, which is exactly what you want to see. And so I did try to get another put. I limit ordered it, and I was like, you know, it's fine. I decided just to be greedy with it and let it, greedy in a good way, because I didn't want to chase it. And I was like, if it fills, that's fine. If not, I'll keep the buying power in case there's another play. So hindsight, yeah, that would have been sick to have another one, but no problem. I held through all this, so came down. Actually, so by the time I was here, even though I was like at the money or slightly in the money, they were down 25% because they were so cheap. That's why it's part of my rules not to get so cheap. These were, yeah, $25 puts. So trying to get over that usually, but again, this is end of day. This was right at the money. I think the next one up was like $60 or $70 premium. And I didn't want to be that far in the money. I knew if this move was going to happen, that strike would have been fine, or I could have even gotten one further out of the money, which, yeah. But since I'm trying to adhere to the rules a little bit that I've found have worked the best for me. But as I get better, you can have less rules, basically. You still want, rules, but as you get better, you'll be able to be more flexible. So anyways, yeah, of course, a lower strike would have had more percentage, but this one worked fine. These were 630 strikes. At that point, it was 630, 37. Let's see. Yeah, it was actually 630.50. Yeah. Didn't get filled again. Let it grind down. It actually never broke my purple here, which is crazy if I had trusted that. But the problem is I only had one. So if I had two, sure, I could have been more greedy with the second one. First one, though, I was practicing all the breathing techniques. I was just trying to hold out as long as I could. I wanted the bottom of this white. So that was the resistance up here. That's on low of day. I wanted it to hit here before I closed. That was also coincided with this blue line, which was yesterday's high, which was the last all-time high. Thinking it potentially could bounce here, and this could still be an inverse head. And this is kind of the last call right there. So I did hold through all that and didn't close it until just about there. I usually jump in right before my real stop. So it was actually on that candle, but it was at the beginning of this candle. This candle got crazy. So this is a big candle, and then the next candle, it was kind of like starting to teeter there a little bit, and I closed it here. Got a $69 fill. That actually went to like $96 for a few moments briefly, so would have been almost double what I closed it at, which is crazy. But I was totally happy. I closed it there, very close to my profit target. And then of course it did grind, and I was happy for the day, happy to be green on a Monday when it's not a whole lot of great structure or trades. And then I was just kind of distracted. I was working on other stuff. I started drawing the lines here, considered taking it if it broke the white. But it's crazy it never broke this purple even, so could have even got it on a retrace, retesting that as resistance. But I'm sure these contracts probably also went like 100%. But you know, good on Monday, happy with it. 25 cents to 69 cents. I'll take it. And didn't do any trades on the big account, which is fine. I'm not really trying to trade that account, trying to build this small account. And telling you, using some form of AI or, yeah, it's to lock you down on your metrics and to really document where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, leverage into those. And you can even get a plan on what your goals are and how far out you are for that. If you stay on this timeline, if you know, we'll see. That might have been a turning point for me last week. I mean, if I've had so many days where it's been like, oh, this is a turning point, this is it. So not getting overconfident by any means, but a few things that just kind of, also then listening to trading psychology stick, which I've shared on our Discord. That's an AI generated channel, but it's got gold in and throughout that channel. Just great advice, like stuff I say on here, but it's just scattered in my brain, and it's just very concise on there. And that's kind of helped me to just be more patient and slow down. And even the breathing technique, 4-4-4, I think it was. So 4 seconds breathing in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds breathing out, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds breathing in, just doing that breathing technique. That kind of helped me hold through here just longer. It literally gets rid of cortisol, which is what triggers FOMO and the fear and everything. And then of course like meditation, but in the middle of a trade, it's kind of difficult to like just fully clock out, I guess, and meditate. But the breathing definitely did help. So I'm hopeful. We'll see what happens. Thanks for your support, guys. Hope you had a good weekend. Happy Money Monday to you. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money. 6 round. Peace out.